The battlefield was silent now, but the silence was not peaceful. Smoke rose from the ground, mixing with the smell of burned metal and blood. The war between humans and the alien Zorath warriors had ended just hours ago, but the land was still. Full of death, bodies, both human and alien, lay across the ruined ground. Their weapons still clutched in cold hands. The air was heavy, and the wind carried the sound of distant groans. Most soldiers had already left, following orders to retreat. Only a few scavengers remained, taking whatever they could before night fell. One of them was Captain Ryan Holt, a human soldier known for his stubborn courage. He walked slowly between the wrecked war machines, his boots crushing the broken glass and twisted wires. His eyes searched for any sign of life, human or alien. He was not supposed to help the enemy, but Ryan was different. If someone was alive, he would try to save them, no matter which side they were on. He stopped when he heard a faint sound. It was not human. It was a low metallic hum, mixed with a deep voice struggling to breathe. Ryan's hand went to his rifle, but he did not point it. Instead, he moved toward the sound, stepping over a fallen drone. Through the thick smoke, he saw something large trapped under a collapsed alien war tank. The figure was huge, almost twice the size of a man. Its armor was cracked and dark purple blood dripped onto the ground. Ryan's eyes widened as he realized it was a Zorath warrior. The alien's glowing golden eyes met his. There was no hatred in them, only pain and a silent plea for help. For a long moment, Ryan stood still. This was the enemy, the same kind of warrior who had killed many of his friends. Saving him could mean death if his commanders found out. But leaving him here felt wrong. Ryan took a deep breath and knelt beside the alien. "You're still alive," he whispered. The alien's voice was weak but deep. "Help me." Ryan threw his rifle over his shoulder and studied the wreckage. The heavy metal of the tank had crushed the alien's lower body. It would take strength and risk to move it. The smoke around them was getting thicker, and distant explosions told him more dangers were coming. Still, he set his hands on the wreck and pushed. The metal groaned and shifted, but it was too heavy. Ryan looked around and spotted a broken beam nearby. He used it as a lever, pushing with all his strength. With a loud crack, the tank shifted enough for the alien to pull himself free. Ryan grabbed him under the arms and dragged him away from the smoking wreck. The alien fell against a piece of rubble, breathing hard. Ryan now saw the full extent of his wounds. His legs were completely still, twisted at unnatural angles, paralyzed. Ryan thought. The alien spoke again. "My name, Tavrix." Ryan frowned, recognizing the name. Tavrix was a famous Zorath warrior, feared by every human unit. Rumors said he had fought in 100 battles and never lost. Now here he was, broken and helpless. Ryan quickly checked his surroundings. Human patrols could be anywhere, and if they saw him helping an alien, they would kill them both. Still, something inside Ryan refused to leave Tavrix. He tore a strip of cloth from his own uniform and tied it around the worst of the wounds. Tavrix grunted but did not complain. "You should leave me," the alien said. "Your people will come and they will not. Let me live." Ryan shook his head. "I'm not leaving you here to die." Far away, Ryan heard the crackle of his radio. "Captain Holt, report your position," a voice ordered. He hesitated, looking at Tavrix. If he called for pickup, Tavrix was finished instead. Ryan switched off the radio and lifted the alien's arm over his shoulder. Tavrix was heavy, his armor adding more weight, but Ryan moved anyway. Step by step, he dragged the warrior into the ruins. Behind them, the smoke rose higher, and the sky turned a deep red with the setting sun. Every few minutes, Tavrix tried to tell Ryan something. "The real enemy is not you, not humans," he said, but his voice was too weak to explain more. Ryan only knew one thing. He had just made a choice that could change everything. As night began to fall, he found a half-buried entrance to an underground shelter. He pushed the alien inside and covered the doorway with debris. The war outside was over, but a new one had just begun. The underground shelter was dark and cold. Dust fell from the ceiling every time a distant explosion shook the ground above. Ryan leaned Tavrix against the wall, his chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. The alien's golden eyes glowed faintly in the shadows, but Ryan could see. They were growing weaker. Ryan searched the shelter for anything useful. He found a broken supply crate. Inside were a few water packs and old bandages. The bandages were useless for alien skin, but he gave Tavrix some water. The alien drank slowly, his hand trembling. "You saved me," Tavrix said in a low voice. "Why?" Ryan shrugged. "Because you're alive, that's reason enough." Tavrix let out a weak laugh. No human ever says that to a Zoroth warrior. His tone grew serious. "Listen to me. I don't have much time. The real enemy is not your people." Ryan sat down beside him. "Then who is it?" Tavrix's eyes narrowed. "A third faction. They are neither human nor Zoroth. They want us both destroyed. They hide in the shadows, starting wars between us." Before Ryan could ask more, a static noise came from outside. Through a small crack in the wall, he saw movement. Human soldiers were searching the ruins, their flashlights cutting through the smoke. Ryan's heartbeat quickened. If they found Tavrix, they would shoot on sight. He grabbed his rifle and signaled Tavrix to stay quiet. The voices of the soldiers were getting closer. "Check the shelter," one of them said. Ryan looked at Tavrix, who stared back with calm eyes. "Go, leave me," the alien whispered. Ryan shook his head. "Not happening." He helped Tavrix to the back of the shelter and covered him with pieces of broken cloth and debris. Then he crouched near the entrance, ready. 2 soldiers stepped inside, rifles raised. Ryan forced himself to act casual. "This place is empty. I already checked." One soldier frowned. "Then why is your radio off?" Ryan gave a half smile. "Battery died." The soldier didn't seem convinced. But before he could press further, a loud explosion rocked the building. Dust and debris rained from above, and the soldiers ran back outside to investigate. Ryan quickly uncovered Tavrix. "We need to move," he whispered. Tavrix's breathing was heavy, his body too weak to stand. Ryan lifted him onto his shoulders. The alien was massive, but Ryan didn't care. Step by step, he carried him out the back exit of the shelter into the deeper ruins. They moved through a maze of broken walls and collapsed streets. Ryan avoided patrols, sometimes hiding behind wreckage for minutes at a time. Tavrix spoke in short, tired sentences. "There is a hidden map on my armor," he said. Ryan looked down, seeing strange glowing patterns on Tavrix's chest plate. "They lead to their base. The third faction. If they succeed, both our worlds burn." Ryan didn't fully understand, but he knew one thing. If what Tavrix said was true, the war wasn't over. They reached the remains of a collapsed watchtower and hid inside. Ryan set Tavrix down against a wall. The alien's eyes were closing, his strength fading fast. "You're not dying." "On me," Ryan muttered, tearing open his medkit. He tried mixing human medicine with scraps of alien healing gel he had found earlier. It wasn't perfect, but Tavrix's breathing steadied a little far away. Ryan heard the sound of a large ship approaching. Human rescue. His orders would be to return immediately. But that would mean leaving Tavrix. He thought about it for only a second before switching off his radio again. Tavrix opened one eye. "You defy your own people, for me." Ryan gave a small grin. "Guess I'm stubborn." A sudden sharp noise cut through the air. Not human weapons, not Zoroth, something else. The sound was like metal screaming, followed by heavy footsteps. Ryan peered out through a hole in the wall and froze. Dark, insect-like shapes moved in the shadows. Their bodies half metal, half flesh. Their eyes glowed a cold blue, scanning everything. Tavrix's voice was a whisper. "The third faction. They found us." Ryan tightened his grip on his rifle. There was no time to run. The creatures were closing in from all sides. Tavrix struggled to lift his weapon, but his hands shook too much. Ryan crouched beside him. I'll keep them off you. Tavrix's jaw clenched. No. This is my fight too. The first creature burst through the wall, its bladed arms slashing at the air. Ryan shot it in the head, sparks and black fluid spraying everywhere. Another came from the side, but Tavrix, using the last of his strength, fired his plasma rifle, blowing it apart. They fought side by side, Ryan moving to shield Tavrix from every angle. The small shelter became a storm of fire and metal. When the last creature fell, Ryan was breathing hard. His ammo nearly gone, Tavrix leaned back, pale but still alive. You fight well, he said. Ryan gave him a tired smirk. You too. For a guy who can't walk. Outside, the night was quiet again, but Ryan knew it wouldn't last. The third faction had found them once. They would find them again. He looked at Tavrix. We need to get you somewhere safe, somewhere they can't reach you. Tavrix nodded slowly. There is one place, but it is deep in enemy territory. Ryan didn't hesitate. Then that's where we're going, and with that, the human soldier lifted the paralyzed alien warrior. Once more, stepping into the dark ruins, somewhere out there, the real war was waiting. The night was cold and heavy with smoke. Ryan carried Tavrix through the shattered city streets, his boots crunching over broken glass and twisted metal. Every step was slow, not because Ryan was tired, but because danger was everywhere. The alien warrior's weight pressed on his shoulders, yet Ryan refused to stop above them. The burned skeleton of a warship leaned against a half-collapsed building. Groaning in the wind, Tavrix's golden eyes flickered open. Where are we going? Ryan kept moving. You said there's a safe place, deep in enemy territory. Tavrix nodded weakly. Yes, an old Zorath outpost. Hidden underground, it has medical pods. If we reach it, I can walk again. Ryan glanced over his shoulder. Then we'll make it. The distant rumble of engines made Ryan pause. He ducked into an alley, pressing his back against the wall. Through the dust, he saw the sharp white lights of a human patrol vehicle moving down the street. He could hear voices, soldiers giving orders to search for any surviving aliens. Ryan's jaw tightened. They were hunting Tavrix, and if they caught Ryan helping him, he'd be branded a traitor. Tavrix's voice was low. Your people will kill you for this. Ryan smirked without humor. Then I guess we both have enemies now. The patrol stopped near the alley. Ryan crouched low, holding his breath. A flashlight beam swept over the rubble, stopping only a few meters from them. One soldier called out, Captain Holt, is that you? Ryan froze, his mind racing. If he answered, they'd see Tavrix. If he didn't, they'd know something was wrong. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the far end of the street. The soldiers turned their lights toward the noise and ran toward it. Ryan didn't wait. He slipped deeper into the shadows, weaving through side streets. The city felt alive, every sound amplified, every shadow possibly hiding danger. As they moved, Tavrix whispered more about the third faction. They are called the Virax. Half machine, half organic, they feed on war. They take our dead, rebuild them into soldiers for their own army. Ryan grimaced, remembering the cold blue eyes of the creatures they had fought. They won't stop until both our worlds are ash, Tavrix continued. That's why you must reach the outpost. They passed a burned-out hospital, through the broken windows. Ryan saw movement, a Virax drone, its spidery legs scraping the floor. Scanning for survivors, he quickly ducked out of sight, heart pounding. It was clear now, they weren't just being hunted by humans, but by the Virax too. And somewhere out there, the alien machines were tracking them both. Ryan pushed on until they reached an old subway entrance. The sign above was half destroyed, but the stairs still led down into darkness. This will take us closer to the outpost, Tavrix said. Ryan descended carefully, the stale air below smelling of rust and mold. In the tunnels, every sound echoed too loudly, making Ryan grip his rifle tighter. Halfway through, they heard heavy footsteps behind them. Ryan turned, and his blood ran cold. A squad of human soldiers was coming. Down the stairs, rifles ready. "Captain Holt!" "Stop where you are!" a voice shouted. Ryan didn't answer. He sprinted deeper into the tunnels, Tavrix's weight slowing him, but not stopping him. Bullets sparked against the walls, lighting the darkness for brief moments. Ryan turned a corner and found an old maintenance door. He kicked it open and slipped inside. Pulling the door shut, they were in a narrow side tunnel. The floor wet and uneven. "Keep moving," he told Tavrix. "They'll check every passage." For minutes, they moved through the maze of tunnels. Then Tavrix stiffened, his eyes narrowing. "They're not the only ones here," he said. Ryan listened and heard it too, a strange clicking sound, followed by the metallic scrape of claws. From the darkness ahead, the blue glow of Varrek's eyes appeared. 3 of them, blocking the path. Ryan cursed under his breath. He had soldiers behind him and Varrek's in front. Tavrix gripped his rifle. "We fight!" The first Varrek's lunged forward, its bladed arm slashing through the air. Ryan fired, hitting it in the chest. Sparks flying. Tavrix's shot tore the second one apart. But the third leapt onto the wall, crawling toward them like an insect. Ryan rolled to the side and fired again, sending it crashing to the ground. The tunnel was now littered with smoking Varrek's remains. But the gunfire had given away their position. Voices echoed from behind. The soldiers were close. Ryan's eyes darted around and spotted a narrow service shaft. He shoved Tavrix toward it. "Go now." Tavrix hesitated. "You first, no time." Ryan barked, pushing him inside. They climbed up into the old sewer network. The smell strong and choking, but at least it was away from the soldiers. Tavrix pointed ahead. "The outpost is beyond the river. We must cross before sunrise." Ryan nodded, wiping sweat from his forehead. The night was far from over, and every step took them deeper into enemy territory. Behind them, the echoes of their hunters grew fainter, but Ryan knew it was only a matter of time before they caught. Up somewhere in the dark, the real enemy, human and alien alike, was closing in. The sewer tunnels twisted like the veins of a dying city. Ryan moved carefully, the dim light from his flashlight bouncing off the wet walls. The air was heavy with the smell of rust and stagnant water. Behind him, Tavrix sat on the makeshift hover sled Ryan had built from broken scrap, his golden eyes watching the darkness. They had escaped the human patrols and the Varrek's, but Ryan knew the danger was far from over. After hours of moving, they reached a rusted ladder that led up to a circular hatch. Tavrix raised his head slightly. Above this, there should be a forgotten bunker. Ryan climbed first, pushing the hatch open, just enough to peek outside. The street above was empty, the buildings around silent and broken. He helped Tavrix up, and together they entered the bunker's main entrance, a narrow crack in the ground half covered by debris. Inside, the air was stale. Dust covered everything, old supply crates, broken furniture, and walls painted with faded military symbols. Ryan swept the room with his light, checking every corner. It seemed abandoned, but that didn't make it safe. Tavrix looked around. Slowly, his face unreadable. This place was once a Zorith listening post. "We built it during the early days of the war." Ryan set him down on a cracked bench and began searching the storage rooms. He found old alien power cells, some food packs, and most importantly, a portable med unit. It was dusty but still functional. He brought it over, connecting its cables to Tavrix's armor. The alien let out a low sound as the device began scanning him. Glowing symbols scrolled across its screen. Unreadable to Ryan, Tavrix explained, "It is stabilizing my vital signs, slowing the nerve damage. But I will not walk until we reach the outpost." Ryan nodded. "Then we rest here for now." He sealed the bunker entrance as best as he could, dragging heavy crates in front of it. The night outside was dangerous, and he needed a few hours. Without moving, they sat in the dim light of a flickering wall lamp. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Ryan asked, "Why did you fight so hard in the war, if you knew humans weren't the real enemy?" Tavrix's eyes lowered. "Because I followed orders. Because I believed my leaders." He paused, his voice quiet. "I once had a chance to destroy a human city, but I spared it. I told myself it was mercy. But in truth, I was tired of killing." Ryan studied him for a moment. The alien warrior in front of him wasn't the monster his people described. He was something else. A soldier like Ryan, trapped in a war that wasn't his choice. A faint hum interrupted his thoughts. Ryan froze, listening. It was the sound of a drone, and it was close. He signaled Tavrix to stay silent, then crept to the narrow viewing slit in the bunker wall. Through the gap, he saw a small, insect-like Virex scout moving slowly across the street. Scanning with its cold blue eyes, Ryan's heart pounded. If it found them, more would come. He reached for his rifle, but Tavrix shook his head. "If you shoot, they will know. We must remain hidden." The drone lingered for a long minute, its mechanical head turning slowly. Finally, it crawled away into the shadows. Ryan exhaled in relief, but he knew it was only a matter of time before they were discovered. They rested in shifts while Tavrix slept. Ryan sat by the wall, listening to the distant sounds of the ruined city. When Tavrix awoke, Ryan finally closed his eyes, but his sleep was shallow, haunted by images of the Virex creatures pulling their prey into the dark. Hours later, a sudden deep vibration shook the bunker. Ryan was instantly awake. Rifle in hand, a second later, the ceiling dust rained down as a loud explosion roared outside. Tavrix's expression hardened. "They found us," the entrance door rattled violently as something heavy slammed against it. Ryan moved quickly, grabbing the med unit and slinging it over his shoulder. He pushed Tavrix back onto the hover sled. The metal door creaked, denting inward under the force of the attack. Ryan yanked open the bunker's rear escape hatch, a small tunnel leading deeper underground. "This way," he shouted. They rushed into the narrow passage, the sled scraping against the walls. Behind them, the front door burst open with a metallic shriek. The sound of mechanical legs scraping against concrete echoed in the dark. Ryan pushed harder, forcing the sled forward. The tunnel opened into a larger underground chamber, but it was already occupied. 3 Virex drones turned toward them, their glowing eyes locking on the pair. Ryan fired first, dropping one with a shot to its head. Tavrix managed to raise his plasma rifle and hit another, but the third leapt forward, slashing its bladed arm across Ryan's chest plate. The impact knocked him to the ground, but he rolled, firing again and destroying it, breathing hard. Ryan got to his feet and pulled the sled toward the far exit. The vibrations of heavy footsteps echoed behind them. More Virex were coming. They pushed on until they emerged into an old subway tunnel. Tavrix pointed ahead. "This connects to the river. Once we cross, the outpost will be near." Ryan tightened his grip on the sled handle, his eyes narrowing. They had survived the night, but the chase was far from over. And somewhere above, both humans and Virex were closing in. The old subway tunnel was silent except for the sound of Ryan's boots scraping the concrete and the low hum of the hover sled carrying Tavrix. The stale air smelled of rust and damp stone. In the distance, faint light leaked through cracks. In the tunnel ceiling, the city above still burning in scattered places. Ryan pushed forward, each step echoing like a warning in the darkness. Tavrix shifted slightly, his golden eyes scanning the shadows. "They are close. I can feel them," he said in a low voice. Ryan didn't need convincing. Every hair on his neck was standing. They had been hunted for too long to think they were alone now. The tunnel curved, and Ryan slowed. Up ahead, strange scratching sounds echoed against the walls. At first, he thought it might be rats. But then the sound grew sharper, more metallic. Tavrix's gaze hardened. Virex scouts. Ryan's grip on his rifle tightened. He moved to the side of the tunnel, hiding behind a crumbling support pillar. The first of the creatures appeared. its body crawling low like a predator. Its cold blue eyes glowed in the dark, scanning the area. Ryan raised his rifle but didn't fire. If he missed, more would come. Behind it, 2 more Virex followed. Their movements jerky yet unnervingly fast. Tavrix whispered, "If they see us, they will send the swarm." Ryan waited until the first one came close, then fired a single precise shot. The bullet ripped through its head, sparks bursting as it collapsed. The other 2 reacted instantly, screeching in a metallic voice that echoed through the tunnel. Ryan cursed under his breath. So much for staying quiet. The creatures charged, blades slicing through the air. Tavrix lifted his plasma rifle, his aim deadly even from the sled. 1 Virex fell in a burst of blue fire, the other leaping toward Ryan. Ryan ducked under its blade and fired point blank, tearing it apart. The tunnel was silent again, but only for a second. From far behind them came the sound of many claws scraping the ground. "They're calling reinforcements," Tavrix said grimly. Ryan grabbed the sled and started running. They moved fast through the tunnel, but the sound of pursuit kept growing louder. He spotted a side passage and swerved into it. The narrow corridor led to what looked like an old underground station. Its ceiling was partially collapsed, creating a jagged opening to the city above. Moonlight spilled in, casting long shadows across the broken platform. Ryan pulled the sled behind a pillar. Crouching low, through the opening above, he heard voices, human soldiers. They were moving across the street above the station, their searchlights sweeping the ruins. Ryan's heart pounded. They were trapped between humans above and Virex behind. Tavrix's voice was calm but heavy. "This is what the Virex want. They push both our people into conflict while they strike from the shadows." Ryan gritted his teeth. "Well, I'm not giving them what they want." The sound of Virex claws drew closer. Ryan moved quickly, scanning the station for an escape. He spotted a service tunnel on the far side, half buried under rubble. It was narrow, but maybe wide enough for the sled. "Hold on," he told Tavrix, and they rushed toward it. They had almost reached the tunnel when a sudden blast of light filled the station. A human soldier had spotted them. "Stop! Captain Holt, step away from the alien!" The man shouted from above. Ryan didn't even look up. He kept moving. The shouts growing louder, gunfire erupted, bullets sparking against the concrete as Ryan dove into the service tunnel. A moment later, the Virex poured into the station, attacking the humans. The sound was chaos, screams, gunfire, and the metallic shrieks of the Virex. Ryan didn't stop to see who won. He pushed the sled through the narrow tunnel, his shoulders scraping the walls. Tavrix's breathing grew heavier, but his eyes stayed sharp. "They will follow. Both of them. Humans and Virex," he said. Ryan nodded. "Then we stay ahead." They emerged into a large maintenance chamber filled with old machinery. Ryan quickly checked the exits. Only one led forward, the rest were blocked. As they prepared to leave, a shadow moved among the pipes. Ryan spun around, rifle ready. From the darkness stepped a figure in human combat armor. But something was wrong. Its movements were too smooth, its head tilting unnaturally, the visor lifted slightly, revealing not a human face but a twisted blend of metal and pale flesh. Tavrix growled. "Virex infiltrator." The hybrid lunged forward with inhuman speed. Ryan fired, but the creature twisted aside, slamming him against a wall. It raised a blade arm to strike, but Tavrix fired a plasma shot that tore through its chest. The creature staggered but didn't fall. Ryan grabbed a nearby wrench and smashed it into the thing's head, knocking it back. Together, they fired again, finally bringing it down. Ryan stepped back, breathing hard. "That was wearing human armor," he said slowly. Tavrix's voice was grim. "They can disguise themselves. Your people won't know who to trust." The chamber fell silent except for their breathing. Ryan tightened the straps on the sled. "Then we get to your outpost before they replace all of us." Tavrix gave a small nod. "Yes. And when I can walk again, we fight them together." With no more words, Ryan pushed forward into the dark. Somewhere ahead lay the one place that could heal Tavrix, and maybe give them a chance to strike back. But the Varex and the humans hunting them were closing in fast. The maintenance chamber faded into darkness behind them. Ryan pushed the hover sled harder, his muscles burning from the constant strain. The narrow tunnels twisted like a maze, each turn feeling like it might lead them straight into danger. Tavrix sat upright now, his plasma rifle resting across his lap, his eyes sharp despite the weakness in his body. The outpost is close. But the last stretch is the hardest, he said, his voice low. Ryan glanced back. Define hardest. Tavrix didn't answer immediately, his gaze scanning the shadows ahead. They will expect us. Both humans and Varex. The river crossing is exposed. No cover. Ryan's jaw tightened. If the Varex knew about this place, it meant they'd likely be waiting. They finally reached a rusted gate at the end of the tunnel. Beyond it, Ryan could hear the faint sound of rushing water. He forced the gate open with a loud metallic screech. Cold night air rushed in, carrying the scent of the river mixed with smoke from the city. They stepped out onto a cracked concrete platform overlooking the dark, fast-moving current. Across the water, Ryan saw the faint glow of alien structures, sharp, angular shapes. That didn't belong to human design. That's it, Tavrix said. The outpost. Ryan measured the distance, too far to swim while dragging Tavrix, and the hover sled would sink in seconds. There's an old transit bridge upstream, Tavrix continued. If it still stands, we can cross. Ryan turned toward the bridge and froze. Blue lights flickered in the distance. Moving toward them, Varex. The clicking of metal claws echoed across the river. Growing louder, from the opposite bank, shapes appeared, human soldiers. Their rifles glinting under the moon. Ryan muttered under his breath, "We're caught in the middle again." The only choice was speed. Ryan pushed the sled toward the bridge, his boots pounding against the cracked pavement. Tavrix raised his rifle and began firing at the advancing Varex, each shot lighting the darkness with a flash of blue. Behind them, more claws scraped the ground. The Varex were faster now, their movements more aggressive. They reached the bridge. Half of it was intact, the other half sagged dangerously toward the water. The metal creaked under Ryan's weight as he stepped onto it. The river roared below, black and unforgiving. "Don't look down," he muttered to himself as they moved. Human gunfire rang out from the opposite bank. Bullets sparked off the railings, forcing Ryan to duck low while still pushing Tavrix forward. "They're trying to take us both out," Ryan said. Tavrix fired back, not at the humans, but at the Varex closing from behind. The creatures leapt onto the bridge, their claws digging into the metal. Ryan fired, hitting one in the head, but another lunged forward, knocking him sideways. The bridge swayed under the sudden weight. Ryan slammed his rifle butt into the Varex's face, sending it tumbling into the river, but more were coming. Tavrix yelled, "Faster! The outpost gates will open if I send the signal, but I need to be close enough." Ryan pushed with everything he had, ignoring the ache in his shoulders and legs. The glow of the alien structure was brighter now, the faint hum of its defenses reaching his ears. Halfway across, an explosion tore through the bridge. Ryan staggered, grabbing the sled before it slid toward the broken edge. The blast had come from the human side. "They're collapsing the bridge," Ryan shouted. The metal groaned as a large section tilted dangerously. Tavrix's voice was sharp. "Run, Ryan! Run now!" Ryan sprinted the last stretch, the bridge swaying under him. Bullets and plasma fire crossed in the air as humans and Varex clashed on both sides. The alien gates ahead began to open, glowing with a pale green light from within. An automated defense turret activated, firing precise blasts at the Varex. Ryan shoved the sled forward with a final burst of strength, diving through the gate. Just as the bridge behind them gave way and crashed into the river, inside the outpost. The air was different, cleaner, warmer, humming with alien energy. Tall walls of black alloy rose around them, their surfaces covered in glowing lines. Two alien guards stepped forward, their weapons raised. Tavrix lifted a hand weakly, speaking in his own language. The guards hesitated, then lowered their weapons and moved to help. They lifted Tavrix from the sled and carried him toward a large circular chamber filled with strange machines. At the center was a pod-like structure glowing faintly, its surface smooth and silver. "This is the medical pod," Tavrix explained, his voice barely above a whisper. "Once inside, it will repair the damage to my spine. I will walk again." Ryan stepped back as the guards placed him inside the pod. The surface sealed shut with a hiss, the glow intensifying. Alien symbols danced across the control panel, and a soft hum filled the room. Ryan finally let himself breathe, but it didn't last. From outside the gates came the sound of distant gunfire and the metallic screeches of Virex. The battle wasn't over. It was just outside. Ryan checked his rifle and stood facing the entrance. If they broke through before Tavrix was healed, the mission was over, he muttered to himself. "Come on, big guy. Hurry up." The hum of the pod grew louder, its light bathing the room in a strange, calm glow. But the shadows beyond the gate promised that the calm wouldn't last. The alien medical pod pulsed with bright light. Strange energy filled the chamber, flowing into Tavrix's broken body. Ryan stood at the gate, rifle ready, eyes fixed on the dark ruins outside. The sounds of battle were growing. Gunfire, plasma blasts, and the metallic screeches of the Virex. Dust drifted from the high walls with every distant explosion. The outpost guards moved quickly along the walls, their alien rifles firing in controlled bursts. Ryan joined them, taking position behind a curved barrier. Through the narrow gap, he saw the enemy coming. The Virex swarmed in unnatural numbers, their bladed limbs flashing in the dim light. Mixed in the chaos, Ryan also saw human soldiers, not allies, but hunters. They were firing at anything that moved. Human or alien, Ryan's heart pounded. If the gate fell before Tavrix emerged, it would all be for nothing. He fired a short burst, dropping a Virex drone as it tried to scale the wall. The alien guard beside him shouted something in their own language. Pointing to the far left, Ryan followed his aim. A massive Virex siege beast was lumbering forward, its body a twisted fusion of metal and bone. Its back bristled with weapon ports glowing with charging energy. "Not good," Ryan muttered. He switched to armor-piercing rounds and aimed at the creature's legs. The shots sparked harmlessly off its thick plates. It kept coming, step by step, each one shaking the ground. Inside the chamber, the medical pod's glow shifted from white to gold. Alien symbols flashed faster across the control panel. A low hum built into a rising tone. Ryan glanced over his shoulder, hoping Tavrix was close to finished. The siege beast roared, a sound like grinding metal mixed with a deep animal growl, and fired a blast from its shoulder cannon. The explosion shook the wall, sending debris and alien guards to the ground. Ryan barely kept his footing, grabbing his rifle again. Two Virex infiltrators slipped through the smoke, their bladed arms aimed at him. He shot the first in the chest, kicked the second backward, and finished it with another burst. The golden light in the chamber suddenly flared. The pod's surface split open with a hiss, steam spilling into the air. Tavrix stepped out. He was taller than Ryan remembered, his armor now restored, and his movement strong. His golden eyes burned with a fierce light. Ryan couldn't help but grin. "About time," Tavrix reached down, lifting his massive plasma cannon from a nearby rack. "Now," he said in a deep voice, "we fight as one." They moved to the gate together. Ryan took the left side, Tavrix the right. Their firepower tore through the Virex ranks, plasma bolts and rifle shots crossing paths in a deadly rhythm. The alien guards regained their positions, rallying under Tavrix's commands. Ryan covered them whenever they reloaded, while Tavrix focused on breaking the siege beast's armor. The creature roared again, its front plates cracking under Tavrix's heavy fire. Ryan aimed for the exposed joints, his bullets finding the weak points. With a final blast from Tavrix's cannon, the siege beast collapsed, crashing into the ground in a shower of sparks and black fluid. But the fight wasn't over. From the far edge of the battlefield, more Vareks surged forward, and among them were human soldiers still firing on both sides. Rayan's chest tightened. He recognized the insignia on one soldier's armor, his own unit. They had orders to kill Tavrix, and now they were here to finish it. Tavrix noticed too. "They are your people," he said. "You should go." Ryan shook his head. "Not happening. You're my people now." They stood side by side as the next wave hit. Ryan fought with speed and precision. Tavrix with sheer power. Every step the enemy gained was met with a wall of gunfire. The ground was littered with smoking Vareks remains and broken human weapons. Finally, the last infiltrator fell. The battlefield outside the gate went silent, except for the crackle of burning wreckage. The surviving human soldiers retreated into the ruins, unwilling to push forward. The Vareks forces lay scattered, their blue eyes dark. Ryan lowered his rifle, his arms heavy. Tavrix rested his weapon on his shoulder, breathing deep but steady. "You fought with honor," the alien warrior said, his voice solemn. Ryan gave a tired smile. "And you fight pretty well for someone who was half dead yesterday." Tavrix turned to face him fully. "In my culture, when a warrior saves your life, you call him brother," he said. Ryan chuckled. "Guess that makes us brothers then." They clasped forearms in a firm grip, a silent vow passing between them. The outpost gates began to close, sealing them away from the war outside. But Ryan knew it was only the beginning. The Vareks would come again, stronger and in greater numbers. Humans and Zoreth would need to stand together or fall apart. As the gates locked shut, Tavrix looked toward the horizon. "When the time comes, we will take the fight to them," he said. Ryan nodded. "And we'll make sure they regret ever starting this war." The two warriors, one human, one alien, walked deeper into the outpost, side by side. Brothers now, bound not by race or home, but by the war they had survived together, and by the greater battle still to come. Asterisk.